Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet a rat, which was another request I received. When crocheted using 8-ply yarn and a 3mm hook, the large one, the size is 12 centimeters wide by 7 centimeters, or 4 3/4 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches. This medium rat crocheted using 4-ply crochet cotton and a 1.5mm hook is 9 centimeters wide by 5 centimeters, or 3.5 inches wide by 2 inches. This small rat, crocheted using 2-ply crochet cotton and a 1mm hook, is 6 centimeters wide by 4 centimeters, or 2.25 inches wide by 1.5 inches. For this one, I left off 2 rows just near the middle, and it looks a bit more like a mouse. So I'll tell you where to leave off the 2 rows. I'll be using Catona cotton and I'll be making a white rat. I've got 106 Snow White and 238 Powder Pink. I've got a 2.5mm crochet hook, a needle to weave in the ends and work the embroidery. I've got scissors and some black cotton to embroider on the eye, the mouth and the whiskers. Now we're going to start at the end of the nose, work down the head and the body, and then we'll do an evening row. I've got my 106 of Snow White, and we start with a magic loop. There's lots of ways to make a magic loop, so make it how you feel most comfortable. I put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and the long end over the short end to make a circle. Yarn around the hook and bring my hook with this yarn at the end through the circle. For row 1, we start with 2 chain and we work 2 half double crochet into our circle. A half double crochet is a half treble using UK terms. For a half double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook in through the circle and bring up a loop. Yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through the 3 loops. We need 1 more half double crochet into that circle. And then we pull our circle tight, so take hold of the tail and just ease it in. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn our work. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. For a single crochet, put your hook into the stitch, bring through a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through the 2 loops. We need 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn our work. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches, and 2 single crochet into our last stitch. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and 1 single crochet into each of the last 3 stitches. For row 5, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 4 stitches, and 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. And 1 half double crochet into each of the last 3 stitches. For row 7, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 6 stitches. For row 8, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each stitch. For row 9, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch. One single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And 2 single crochet into the last stitch. For row 10, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 8 stitches. For row 11, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 2 single crochet into the first stitch. And then 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. For row 12, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each of the 9 stitches. For row 13, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch. Now, if you wanted to make the rat look more like a mouse, miss rows 14 and 15. So miss the next 2 rows. For row 14, we start with 1 chain and turn and work one single crochet in each of the 9 stitches. For row 15, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet in each stitch, but miss this if you're making a mouse. Now if you're making a mouse, you can start again. For row 16, we work 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 7 stitches. And we'll work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. So put your hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and hook into the last stitch and bring up a loop. Yarn around the hook. Take the hook with this yarn at the end through the 3 loops. For row 17, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in each stitch to the end. For row 18, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 7 stitches. For row 19, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. For row 20, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the following stitch. That's a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook. Take the hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops. Then we work a joined single crochet over the last 2 stitches. And we're not going to fasten off. For the neatening row, we start with 1 chain and we're going to turn our work and work down the last row. We work 1 single crochet in each stitch down the back part of the rat, and then start around the corner, and we're going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch just along the bottom until we get to the nose. Just find a suitable place not too far from the edge to put your hook. And for neatening rows, it can be easier to use a size or 2 finer hook. It's just easier to get your hook into the stitch. Now, just at the end of the nose, where we started, work 1 single crochet, it's just a bit hard to get into that stitch there. 1 single crochet, 1 chain, and 1 single crochet, and then work 1 single crochet in each stitch along the back to the beginning of the row. I'm just working over the tail, just so I don't have it quite as much to weave in of ends. When we get back to the beginning of the row, we join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. So put your hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on the hook, and then fasten off. And that's the head and body done. I'll weave in this end and I'll be back and we'll work the tail. For the tail, we join the 238, the powder pink, in about the middle of the back, about there, just after the join, and work 21 chain. We miss the first chain and work one slip stitch into each of the next 3 chain. Then one single crochet into each of the next 8 chain. Now we're going to work a joined single crochet over the following 2 chain, then a joined single crochet over the next 2 chain, and a joined single crochet over the following 2 chain, and then one single crochet in each remaining chain. And then slip stitch into the next stitch along the body, and fasten off. And the tail will bend around like that. Now for the ears, they both work the same. I've still got the 238, the powder pink, and we start with a magic loop. We work 2 chain and 3 double crochet into the circle. Then work 2 chain and slip stitch into the circle. Then we pull the circle tight, and I'm going to leave a long tail to stitch the ear to the head, and we fasten off. And that's the first ear done. We work another one the same. We start with a magic loop, work 2 chain and 3 double crochet into the circle. Work 2 chain and slip stitch into the circle, pull the circle tight, and you fasten off, leaving a long tail. And that's the second ear done. Now for the back leg, we join the 238, the powder pink, in the back loop only for about 4 stitches on from the tail. So about here, this is the back loop here, the outside loop. Now it depends a bit on how far apart you work your neatening row as to where you join, but mine's 4 stitches because I work mine reasonably close together. Now start with 1 chain and work 1 single crochet in the same stitch as the join and 1 single crochet into the next stitch in the back loop only, and then work 4 chain. We slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then work 2 chain, and then slip stitch in that same stitch as our last slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the 2 remaining chain, and then slip stitch in the same stitch as your last single crochet and fasten off. And that's the back leg worked. When I weave in the end, I just weave in 1 extra stitch, weave it through the next stitch, and that just holds it up against the body a little bit more. Now the front legs are worked using both the white and the pink. We start with the white. I'll be doing this near front leg first. It's worked separately and then stitched on. I've got my 106, a snow white, and we start with 3 chain. We miss the first chain and work a joined single crochet over the last 2 chain. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into the stitch, and then fasten off. I leave a long tail to stitch it down, and I'm going to join in the pink just in the stitch there. Just in that last single crochet in row 2, and we work 3 chain, we miss the first chain and work 1 slip stitch in each of the 2 remaining chain, and then slip stitch in the stitch from row 2 and fasten off. And when I weave in the ends, I leave this longer white end. And that's the near front leg. Now for this far front leg, I've got my white, and we're going to join in the back loop only 4 stitches back from the neck. So in here, we work 1 chain and 1 single crochet into that same stitch as the join, and then fasten that off. Then we join our pink in the stitch, the single crochet, and work 3 chain. We miss the first chain and work 1 slip stitch in each of the 2 remaining chain, and then slip stitch in the stitch from row 1 and fasten off. Now that's all the pieces worked. I'll weave in the ends. Now when I weave this in, I'll weave the pink part out that way a bit, so it's going forward. And once I've woven in the ends, I'll be back and we'll put it together. Now there's the pieces. I've got the rat the near front leg and the ears. The first things I'll do is attach the near front leg just in there next to the far front leg, and one ear goes at the front just in there, sticking up a bit, and the other one goes just behind and a bit forward, so in about there. I've worked one with 2 less rows for a mouse. For the mouse one, I'll make more of a rounded eye and the mouth and the whiskers. When you're embroidering on the whiskers, try to get them going opposite each other, so down there and up there. I have 3 or 4 whiskers at the bottom and 3 whiskers at the top. And for the rat, I'll have more a straighter line for the eye. It won't be as thick or as rounded as the mouse. So I'll embroider on the eye, the mouth and the whiskers, and I'll be back to show you the finished rat. There's the finished rat and mouse. The size is 9.5 centimetres wide by 6 centimetres, or 3 3/4 inches wide by 2.5 inches. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Patreon. The details are in the description below, along with the details of my website where I have my patterns and the details of my Facebook group. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.